fundraisers, I'm Dawn Lego. It's time to buckle up for a new episode of Raise Nation Radio, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impact in our communities, building better tomorrows, and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together, we'll dive into lively conversations. And we're going to chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders to explore hot-button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. All right, Raise Nation Radio, let's get going. I'm super excited to introduce my next guest. We're just going to talk about innovation, the future of fundraising, and why. Those things might not sound like they go together, but trust me, they do. Please welcome to Raise Nation Radio, the CEO and co-founder of DonorDock, Matt Bitzegaio. Matt, please tell me I didn't butcher your last name.
You got it perfectly.
Matt, welcome to Raise Nation Radio. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the radio today.
Yeah, I know you just got back from like a whirlwind conference tour travel. So how are you feeling? A little energized and inspired, or like I need a nap?
Yeah, it's been a good week. We were down in Denver for NTC and then in New Orleans for AFP Icon. Great events. Very happy to be home though, and looking forward to kind of getting back to a week of normal work here. I said I feel like it's Friday already because I feel like I've gone nonstop for the last 7 days, but it's been a lot of fun. So
yeah, well, conferences will do that to you. And I'm sure a lot of our audience can relate because they probably were there shaking hands with you. Yeah. But, we'd love to open with just getting to know you a little bit better. Just so you're just such a voice and a presence in the nonprofit space, and what you're doing for nonprofit organizations is amazing. We're going to get to all of that, but we want to know you first. So do you mind giving us the larger introduction instead of me just trying to phonetically say your name? Let us know what do you want to share personally and what you do at DonorDock and just who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, I'm co-founder and CEO of DonorDock. Been working on the DonorDock project. We started it back in 2017. And prior to that, I had spent a lot of years in the CRM space, working with more of the enterprise type CRMs and, working with a lot of both for-profit and nonprofit customers. I taught CRM courses at a couple of major universities for several years. And I've always just really loved that kind of CRM, relationship management, and the idea that that's more than just software. It's really a business strategy that organizations need to take. And, having gotten to work with a lot of nonprofits in that space, I, just really had found a passion for that. And so started DonorDock in 2017 with the goal of serving really smaller and grassroots type nonprofits with technology that works for them and that they can afford and that's simple enough for them to use. And love doing what we're doing. On a personal note, I live in West Fargo, North Dakota. So I am in the frozen tundra of North Dakota. We are getting spring finally. I live here. I have 3 children. They're getting older now. I guess one's in college, one is in high school, and one's in middle school. And then my wife, Bridget, is also a team member for us at DonorDock as our training manager. So love what
family
we're doing.
Affair.
Yeah, it has turned into it. We feel like there are days where we feel like it's our 4th child, in a good way. But yes, we really are enjoying what we're doing, and being able to find it really compelling, being able to be a part of helping so many awesome charities around the country as we've continued to grow. So it's been great.
Well, I love hearing that because we have the same dialogue here at One Cause, which is why I think our companies are so aligned, and I think we have some integration to talk about, but we'll save that for a little bit later. I want to give a shout out to your 3 children. You want to give us their names and give a big shout out?
Yeah. So Caitlin is our daughter. She's our oldest, and she is a freshman at North Dakota State University. Music's scholarship. So she got a full ride music scholarship. So we're very, very proud of her for that. Our son Brady is 15. He's a freshman in high school, basketball player, had a great basketball season this year. And then our youngest son, Andrew, is a sixth grader, and he is into more of computers, technology, 3D printing, all those things. So hopefully maybe we'll groom him to take over and be a part of DonorDock at some point down the road as well. So
there you go. Well, I'm glad we gave that shout out. All right. So I'm going to take you back. I'm going to ask you some hard questions. I hope you don't mind.
No, it's
but good. Let's talk about the vision of DonorDock. I think it's fair to say, if you don't mind, that certainly you weren't the first CRM solution out there, right? There's a lot to choose from for nonprofits, but nonetheless, you kind of had some visions, some inspiration, some things that you just wanted to do differently, and some opportunities to give the nonprofit community just different choices, better choices, more engaging with their donors, and giving just more opportunities to change the giving landscape. And you had thoughts there. And so you took a risk, right? You took some risk to enter into a market that's pretty full, but yet you felt compelled to do that. Can we talk about your why? Why would you do that? And just tell us that story.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really started for me back in when I was working in that more enterprise nonprofit space. And I was president of a Microsoft Gold partner based out of Fargo here. So we were in the Microsoft channel, the Microsoft ecosystem. And, you know, we had built a nonprofit add-on for Microsoft's CRM product, which, you know, for certain environments is a great tool. It's very akin to a Salesforce, that type of thing. But we kept trying to push that down market. I personally love working with the smaller nonprofits. I feel that they're largely ignored when it comes to the technology that's in the marketplace in terms of, you know, I think you've got a lot of solutions out there that are really thought through and designed for the larger organizations. And then they sell to the smaller organizations, but they're not really designed for that. And so they oftentimes the complexity, the training requirements, the implementation times and the costs, all of those things become barriers for these smaller organizations to be able to get value and take advantage of those tools to use them to build better donor relationships and ultimately raise more money for their organization. And so saw that firsthand over and over again. We would try and get these solutions in that we were working on, and it just didn't resonate. It just didn't work. And so I started looking at what else is out there, you know, in the nonprofit space designed specifically for charities and for nonprofits in the CRM space. And I felt that there was a lot of tools. As you said, we were not the first CRM, of course. There's been some that have been around for a long time. There's also, you know, donor management tools that maybe don't have all the CRM components and capabilities that, that I think of when I think of CRM activity tracking and really understanding those touch points and those, you know, how you're building that relationship. But we looked at what was out there and just really felt like there was a space there for someone to create something that was designed specifically for those smaller organizations, worked in a way that they worked in a way, you know, and something that was easy enough for them to understand, adopt. And I'm not suggesting that they're not intelligent, wouldn't have the capability of working with these larger CRMs, but more so just they're often wearing a lot of hats, their resource constraint, their time constraints, you know, all these things that play into being able to adopt something like that. And so for us, it was really about the idea of democratizing technology for these smaller nonprofits and making something that was available that they could afford, that provided what they needed, and then supporting them at the highest level that we could. And that was really kind of our why of getting into it. Is we think we can do that, and we think we can do it really well based on, you know, just background and experience and what we had seen work and not work. And so we started DonorDock. My co-founder Andrew and I I left my full-time job in 2017 and started consulting to try and pay the bills to keep the family fed and, maintain, what we had as a lifestyle and so forth. And that was challenging. I'll be honest with you. Andrew was able to stay on, at his full-time job a bit longer, but we started writing code nights and weekends. And we kind of got through to like April of 2018. And I went to an innovation challenge here in Fargo through the North Dakota State Department of Commerce and learned a lot and actually won kind of a little best pitch contest during that. And we got done with that. I got done with that event and I said, Andrew, we have to just pick a date that we're going to have this thing live. And if we don't, we're just going to keep working on it and working on it and working on it. And, let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Let's get something out and start getting feedback. So, we had worked with 10 local nonprofits through a prototyping phase, got a lot of good feedback, but we just said, we're going to launch this thing on June 1st of 2018. And so we realized then that, oh man, we have to get a website done. We have to be able to accept money for this. Like there was just a lot of things that, as it got really real, we were trying to kind of figure out. And, but we pushed through, he was still working. I was still doing all the consulting. We worked hard at it and we launched the product officially on June 1st of 2018. We had
17 days early.
Yeah. We had exactly one paying customer in the first month that we were live who is still a customer today. And they're a great story about how this fits. They were on that solution that we had built when I was at the Microsoft partner. So I'd had a previous relationship with them. And when we went in with DonorDock, they had a user manual, I'm holding up my hands, that was about 6 inches thick, that when a new employee started, that was the manual for how to use the donor CRM and the donor management tool. And I think we got in there and we rolled DonorDock out. It was a good fit for them. And it went down to about 2 pages when they, for them, when they hired somebody new. And so that was the first indicator to us, like, we think we have something here that's working really well. We added 4 customers the second month. So 400% growth between the first and the second month.
Those are good numbers for investors.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then, but then it was a grind for that first year. I was still consulting. I was selling the product. I was doing support, writing code. Andrew was writing code, helping support it while still working a full-time job. And, we kind of partnered with a local foundation to provide some tools for free to a large giving day that they did here. And that was great. That got us some awareness going. And we kind of ground through it for about the first year or so, year and a half, kept getting great feedback from the customers that we were adding. But when you're, one guy trying to sell and support and code and do your other jobs to keep your family fed, it was just, it was kind of one of those things where we weren't adding customers extremely quickly. But in 2019, we got approached to write a software product for another company. And so that allowed us to hire Andrew over full time and a team of a few other people. And so we were able to we were able to obviously build that product for them, but then we had a little bit of extra time where we could focus on DonorDock as well. And we were working together full time, every day. And so we really started to kind of ramp things up then. And then in 2020, in the midst of COVID, we decided we really need.
You didn't need that on top of,
COVID,
you didn't need that.
COVID for us wasn't quite as bad as it was, for some other organizations, just being a lower cost solution. It was something that I think drove people who are looking to save money, to looking at other things. But it was challenging in other ways. The services contracts were starting to slow down because of COVID and some other things. And so we said in September, Andrew and I were talking, and I said, we either need to, go all in and hire somebody or to help us sell this thing, or we just probably need to be done with it because, we were
that would have been a tragedy.
It would have been, but, we were sitting a couple of years in at about 80 customers and just the time to try and sell and move it forward was really challenging to find. And so, luckily, things worked out. We hired 2 gentlemen actually in September of 2020 with the intent that they were both going to work on sales. One came from a background of working within the nonprofit sector, and the other came from Blackbaud, who he had been there for 7 years and was part of one of their layoff rounds, during COVID. We were lucky enough to find Pat and Jordan, and we brought them in and we made some changes to our pricing and things, and we hit January of 21. And we said, we need to see some growth over the next 3 or 4 quarters, because if we really want to go after this, we're going to have more capital than we do now. And so we were able to do that as a team. We rallied. We had 4 straight quarters of quarter-over-quarter growth, and we closed on our first outside investment in December of 21, which has really allowed us to expand the team. We're up to about 16 people now. That's been growing. Our customer base, we're in 47 states now. And one of the things that really sticks out to me is that through all of that, we're now about 5 years in. And through all of that, we still maintain an under 2% annual churn rate of our customers, which I think really speaks to how well the solution fits and that we take such good care of customers. So those were just 2 really important things to us, that we had good product market fit and that we did everything we could to make sure customers had a good experience and have a good experience with us. And it's actually one of the things I love about working with the OneCost team so far in our relationship, is I think there's so much similarity in that commitment to customers and their success. And our team just buys into that. And it's really proven to be an important piece of our growth, because when when customers are happy, they're telling other customers, or, they're telling other nonprofits about it. And also we're not losing customers all the time that you're having to try and constantly backfill. So it's been an interesting ride, but ultimately what it really comes down to for us is trying to have a solution that works well for those smaller organizations that I do think get somewhat overlooked when it comes to technology. And I think we've been able to do that fairly effectively. Sure. So,
yeah. And I heard what you said, that, it doesn't mean that you feel that a smaller nonprofit doesn't have the, technology acumen or the, the know-how, or it has nothing to do with that. It's a matter of speaking the same language as the smaller nonprofit. It's just, they're talking French, don't talk to them in German, kind of thing. I mean, many of our audience knows that I do help my daughter run a small grassroots nonprofit, and everything that you said is true. I don't want, nor can we handle, a 6-inch book manual on how to, track, how to enter a donation or how to track it or what I do. I mean, it's just, it really is just putting a round peg into a round hole in for a niche market. But let's be clear, you're not only for grassroots, super small. I mean, you really have a pretty nice repertoire of the types of customers, the shapes and sizes. Admittedly, you may not be the right fit for an enterprise organization, but it is a broader spectrum than just the grassroots. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say so. When we kind of identify our ICP, our client profile, that really where it really fits, where we see it work really, really well are organizations that are, 5 million and under in annual revenue. We do have, and I qualify that by saying we do have customers that are much larger than that. But when we think about who did we build it for, when you think about the idea of, we talk a lot about like innovation through simplicity at DonorDock, where, so much of how we can innovate is actually by making things easier for people versus, new features or crazy new things. And when you look at that idea doesn't just resonate with these small organizations. Everybody wants things that are simpler and that are easier to use. So we certainly do have customers that, fall outside of that ideal client profile, or that's marketing speak, I know, but but at the end of the day, that's really that when we think about who are we designing it for, who are we building it for, that's who we're building it for. And I think like you, working with your daughter. So I've had the privilege of watching. So Bridget, who is our training manager, also started and runs a small nonprofit that does adaptive music for people with special needs.
Oh, you're kidding. My daughter's nonprofit is for individuals with special needs. I didn't even know that. We're finding this out on Raise Nation Radio.
Yeah. So Bridget, was a music teacher by trade and spent a lot of years in the public school district, did a lot with adaptive music, and realized she had a passion for that. And a lot of those budgets were getting cut out of the school district. So she started her own nonprofit back similar time to when I started DonorDock. And so she's been using DonorDock. I've been watching a one-person, nonprofit using DonorDock for the last 5 years, and can see how decisions we make and things that we do positively or negatively impact the user from a very personal perspective. And, so having
you have empathy for sure.
I do. And actually empathy, interestingly, is one of our 5 core values as an organization, because we look at it that it's super easy to make decisions in a vacuum and without really thinking about how those decisions, may impact our customers or our team members and so on. And so empathy is such an important piece for us. As every decision that we're making, we're thinking about it. How does this potential decision impact either positively or negatively our customers, our team, the users that we have? And having Bridget so close obviously has been great. I've been able to see it, but having a relationship, I've got a deep relationship with so many of our customers because I was the one who sold them the product at the beginning and maintained that. It's been, it's really interesting to be able to see it up close and kind of really understand the impacts of what we're trying to do. And we don't always hit the mark on things, like anybody.
And Bridget will tell you if you're off, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. We've got that firsthand view of what that looks like. And then for us having her then as our, training manager, she also helps our sales team as a solution engineer, during the sales process. Like having someone that uses it as an actual user on a daily basis, also being there to be able to bring our customers into the fold and be able to help them understand how they can get value out of it quickly. Like there's no better perspective than someone who's using it herself daily to be able to help customers. And she understands the challenges that they're facing too, and they're very real. And so being able to kind of navigate through that has been a super valuable thing for us and for our customers. And so it's been really close to me personally in lots of different ways, being a part of what we're doing, but then seeing it in use has been really, really fantastic.
Well, I have to digress a minute and through you ask Bridget to be a guest on Raise Nation Radio also, because we'd love to cast some shine on her mission and everything that she's doing. I think it's wonderful. I'm raising a son with special needs, and we have entered him into a number of music programs because he could sing like it's nobody's business, just on note, perfect, any song, high, low, doesn't matter. And we've had him in some adaptive music programs. So please thank her from me and my family. And we applaud what she's doing and just that connection of empathy and understanding. Now I understand why DonorDock is just skyrocketing to one of the most innovative, and you have something like 4.7 star review on G2 Crowd or something like that. It's just so well received. So thanks to you and Andrew for, sticking with it and not shutting those doors, putting a date on it, June 1st, June 18th, and making it happen, because you really are solving lots of problems for, nonprofits in a certain scope. So let's talk about some of these fun features. I love the whole inspiration from the Kanban view. That I think that's helped get what got DonorDock's name, which you're gonna have to talk about if you don't mind. But I want to talk about Daily 5 and Action Board and just all of those great features, because we're talking in broad strokes about innovation, but I know our audience is like, well, what does that mean specifically, right? So do you want to jump into some of your very robust features that DonorDock offers?
Yeah, sure can. So as you said, the name, we do get asked about the name a lot, DonorDock. And when we first prototyped out the product, we had this vision for a simple to use CRM that used the Kanban style of taking
Kanban
cards and moving cards from into different lanes. And the term for that is docking the card in the lane. And so that's where DonorDock came from, was that you have your donor cards and you're going to be docking them in the different lanes.
Docking the donor cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So that's really where it came from. But when we first launched the product, we actually chose not to put that in. And there were reasons for that. It was for, both technical reasons and just things we were still refining and thinking through. And so, we went a long time without having that, which we recently added. I'll tell you about the action board, because I think that is probably one of the most
love it.
Innovative things that we're doing. And I don't think there's anything else really quite like it that's in the space right now. And really what that comes down to is people want to be they want to be told, what should I be doing next? And a lot of times you just need to cut away a lot of the noise, and you need to be able to sit down and say, I need to make progress on my fundraising today amidst all the other hats that I'm wearing. And that's really what we came up with the idea for the action board was, let's build something right into the tool that's almost like a fundraising coordinator or coach that's built right into the software product. So what the action board is, the system's constantly scanning data. So we've got all sorts of data that's coming in, whether it's you're manually keying information in about donors and gifts and so forth. We've got integrations where data flows in. We've got all sorts of data that's there. The action board is designed to constantly be scanning the data that's in your system, and it surfaces what we call nudges to the fundraiser based on fundraising best practices and the data that it's seeing. So examples of nudges might be a donor gave their first gift. So, if you think about something that simple, a donor gives their first gift. Let's say it's a volunteer that enters that check into the system. And if they don't realize it's that donor's first gift, then nobody knows. And, that just gets treated like any
missed opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Missed opportunity for engagement. If they do realize it, then they're putting a Post-it note on someone's desk saying, can you call this person and thank them for that first donation? Well, we said
amongst all the other Post-it notes.
The other Post-it notes. Right. And so I think a lot of systems would handle that by saying, well, just run reports. You got to run a report and it's going to tell you, here's your first time donors this last month, and you got to go do what you're going to do. And we felt like that was a really kind of antiquated way of thinking about the problem. And so we said, why don't we take it and we're going to real-time nudge the fundraiser that's responsible for that relationship and basically build them a card that's like a Post-it note built in the software that says, hey, this person gave their first donation. Here's some things you might want to consider doing based on that. But ultimately, so much of it's based on the relationship, meaning there's a lot of systems that can over automate things. There's a fine line between automation and over automation. So if you have a system where you can say, every time a first gift comes in, I want it to go do X, Y, and Z, that's great. That can be valuable. But what you miss is the personal aspect of that, to where if I know that this person that gave their first gift prefers a phone call because I have a relationship with them versus getting an email or something else. And then if I know that and I get the nudge, I can choose how I want to engage with that person based on what I know. And so rather than say, we're always going to do this, we say, we're going to tell you this happened and we're going to let you decide how you want to do it. And you simply drag that card from the nudge over to the take action lane of the Kanban board. And it asks you, what do you want to do? Do I want to make a phone call? Do I want to send an email? Do I want to, whatever options that I have there, we have lots of different activities that you of course can do. And then that's tracking that's all happening on the back end. So now every one of those touch points is getting tracked to that donor's record. So when I go look at that donor's record in the system, I can see the 360-degree view of what's going on. What have they given?
End to end.
End to end. I see my timeline of when we've engaged with them. I can see a graph that shows me the relationship between those engagement points and how much and when they've given, like all sorts of different, data points that are helping inform the relationship that you have and help you build that out better. And so there's all sorts of things that nudge on the action board. There's first gifts. Second gift is an important one that I think gets overlooked a lot. We look at that as this person has now been retained as a donor, and that's actually a really big deal. So you want to probably reach out on that second gift and thank them in some way. Major gift, a gift that's unusually large for somebody. So, we call that a spike up. So if somebody's normally gives $50 a month and all of a sudden they give $500, something's changed in their circumstances. It's a great opportunity to reach out and understand from them, like, what's changed. Did something we do trigger that additional gift? Like, what did that look like? And then we have things like that are more proactive. So that's, we have an algorithm that looks for people who, what we say, moving out of the money, so to speak. So it's like they have given before, but they're moving towards that lapse stage, and you maybe haven't had any kind of engagement with them for a while. We're going to nudge you to try and make sure that you're engaging, to keep them and retain them as a donor. And then things like the daily 5. So one of the biggest challenges.
Love the daily 5.
Daily 5. Yeah. It's a simple idea, but when you look at, let's say I'm a fundraiser and I have a caseload of 200 donors that I manage the relationship for, and it's very overwhelming to say, how can I have 200 donors? Like, I can't personally reach out to 200 donors on a regular basis. And we look at the daily 5 as a way to break that down into repeatable and consistent, activity that leads to big results. So every morning when you get in, if you have the daily 5 turned on, you have 5 donors from your caseload that are there. If you've reached out or already engaged with them recently, they're not going to show up. If you get them done that day, that's great. You'll get 5 more tomorrow. Let's say you only get 2 done. We don't want to overwhelm people where that the next day they have 8. So we backfill the 2 they got done. They still have 5 the next day. So we have gotten a lot of feedback from executive directors and development directors that daily 5 has changed the way they look at things, to where I can reach out and touch base with 5 donors every day. And all of a sudden it's not long and they've gotten through their list,
Yeah. 5 times 5,
exactly.
You're at 25 by the end of the week.
Yeah.
You're really revolutionizing the way CRM performs for the nonprofit. You really are. It's different. It's beyond just a management tool. It's not just housing data and putting it into a, history, it's really working for that nonprofit. It's doing a job. It's just supporting in every way. You've thought of everything. We need a new name. It can't be CRM anymore. I'm declaring it. We got to come up with something better for this.
Well, we look at it that those are all the little things that we hope
make
help
a difference.
Simplify things for our customers, to where, making a difference and helping them do more with less in some ways. Like when you think about that action board, how refreshing would it be to sit down in the morning and just have, know that if I can get through these 8 things or 10 things that are on my action board, I've made meaningful progress in my fundraising today. And I can go on with the rest of my day knowing that I've moved my fundraising forward for the organization. And that's really powerful. And I think has really resonated with our customer base.
It's also personalized, right? Mm-hmm. The way you've built it is such that as the nonprofit is reaching out to their supporters and donors, it's not a cookie cutter reach out.
Right.
It's very intentional, relevant, timely, and personalized. Yep. What more do you want in fundraising when you're engaging with your donors?
100%.
And so the way you've done it is brilliant. But let's move to the whole easy, seamless, there's a lot of technology. I feel like in the last 10 years, I was just speaking with Debbie McCann from W Foresight. Actually, we have a podcast episode with her on Raise Nation Radio. And she's, just talking about the overwhelming amounts of technology that are available to nonprofits. And it seems like in the last 10 years, it's really just skyrocketed. Yeah. And it could be overwhelming, especially for the smaller, nonprofit, and maybe sometimes causing more problems than solutions, because now what do you need? Everything seems like a shiny new toy, right? I need it all, right? Oh yeah, I want to grow my fundraising. You're telling me that it can grow. Okay, I need that. I need this, right? And so now you have this plethora of technology, an IT nightmare, maybe duplicating efforts, just not really being as efficient. So the answer to that is less disparate systems and integrations, which is where DonorDock and OneCause come in. We are such a proud partner with DonorDock. We do have a direct integration, a native direct integration. DonorDock was able to build to our open API. Is that right? And now we're getting technical and we're getting codey here, and we're way above my pay grade, but so stop me if I get it wrong. But all of that data syncs 3 times daily. So as nonprofits use the OneCause fundraising platform to manage all of their events and giving and auctions and all that good stuff that we do here over on OneCause side, that data syncs 3 times daily into DonorDock, giving that end-to-end view. Do I have that right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you have it exactly right. Yeah, we are extremely excited as well about the integration. Event fundraising, especially, and peer-to-peer things that you guys do so well are such important topics when we talk to customers. And so yes, that integration is built such that it's a couple of clicks. So you can go into DonorDock, you turn on the integration, you paste a couple data points out of OneCause, and it's on and it runs.
I saw that. I was like, wait, easy. What? I sneezed. Did I miss how that gets connected? It's super cool.
It is. And then it runs, like you said, 3 times a day, and it's looking for any new data that's over on the OneCause side from the last time it ran. And it's going to sync that data over into DonorDock. And from there, you can now use the DonorDock tools to work with data that's coming in from OneCause. So, we have email marketing, for example, built into the product. So now your data is flowing over from OneCause. It's after the event. It's time you maybe want to send some kind of recap email, or maybe you're getting close to an event next year and you did it last year. You want to let the people know that it's coming up again. And so you have all that data on the DonorDock side that's coming from OneCause, and you're able to use that in your outreach. The data flows and drives the action board, just like somebody sat down and manually keyed in something. So you're getting all of you're getting the best of what is out there for event fundraising, peer-to-peer fundraising, front-end fundraising, all the things that OneCause does so well, best of breed, just really, really good tools. And then you're getting the DonorDock CRM on that backside. And I always think about the idea of CRM being kind of the hub of a technology, blueprint for an organization, meaning you may have multiple other systems that are dealing with different things that they do really well. And the more of that data you can get into your CRM to build that 360-degree view picture of the donors, the more you're able to use the data to build those better relationships, which is such a key, important part of really effective fundraising.
Full circle.
Opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. Full circle.
No, the integration is great.
It works easy. Like a charm. It's just so easy.
It is. And I think you're then supported by 2 companies that really, really care for their customers and for that experience. And so we work closely with OneCause to make sure that the integration works and that, we're dealing with things as we need to. And our goals and plans are just to continue to enhance and improve even what we have as we go. So super excited and humbled to be a part of that kind of OneCause ecosystem. And we really, really love the integration that's been able to be built there. So.
Yeah, it just gives 2 powerful solutions and with one connectivity and really makes life so easy. But, that's all that coding jargon that I said is above my pay grade. What I also think is special about this integration, or I should say marriage, is just the alignment of our company's mindset, the passion to really build better tomorrows, to help nonprofits succeed in what they're doing, and to give them all the tools for them to be successful. There's such a commitment and passion and 24/7 desire to deliver. And I think that's what's even more special about this integration or partnership or connectivity. It goes beyond the integration. The companies are just really aligned in that customer service and empathy, if you will. So any comment on that?
Yeah, I think every experience we've had from the very first conversation we had with the One Cause team about partnering and building this integration has just really shown us that, there's so much alignment, like you said, from a values perspective, guiding principles of why we're doing what we're doing. I think from everybody I've talked to there, all the way up to Steve and everyone on all the different teams, I've walked away from those conversations thinking that and feeling that they see things the same way that we do. They care about the same things that we do. And honestly, when you're a business and you care so much about your customers, you have to really look at who you're partnering with to ensure that there is that alignment, so that we, both of us, are confident that when we say, hey, we have an integration to One Cause and they're going to take really, really good care of you, or vice versa. Hey, we have an integration with DonorDock and they'll take really good care of you, that you can be confident in making that statement, because we do care so much about each and every one of our customers. And I know you guys do as well. And so, yeah, that's really comforting, to be honest, as a business leader and somebody who's built something that's focused on trying to provide value and trying to help these nonprofits. The alignment and the confidence that builds in our team is almost priceless for us when it comes to, the partnership and the integration.
We feel the same way. Ditto, right back to you, and compliments and kudos to your team as well. We feel the same way, just as inspired when we walk away from any conversation. So it's a marriage made in heaven. But I think we have time for just two more questions. If you could hang out there with us for just a little bit longer. I guess I would ask you two things as we kind of wrap up. One, what does it look like in 5 years, or what do you hope DonorDock is going to look like in 5 years? And then the second is, what do you want nonprofit organizations out there listening to this episode to know? I know. Yes. I told you I was going to hit you with tough questions, but there you go.
No, that's good. 5 years, I think, as we look into the future, our goals are to continue to grow around the country, helping, these nonprofits. We would love to start looking at some international stuff as we continue to grow. We've kind of stayed away from that to this point, just based on, there's such a large market in the US of charities that really, I think, need help and need the tools that we have. But we'd like to be able to grow outside of the US as we continue to grow. But ultimately, it's that we continue as we grow to not lose sight of the importance of taking care of customers, and that customer-centric viewpoint that we have follows us as we grow. I think it's really easy to grow as an organization and as a company, and some of those things kind of fall by the wayside, and it becomes more and more difficult. And actually, I think we can look at One Cause as a really good example of how you can grow and you can still maintain that customer-centric viewpoint that we have today. And so, want to see us continuing to be able to do that. I'd love to continue to be able to build out the network of nonprofits that we are able to help. And then we have a lot of really cool things we'd like to do in the roadmap of the product as well. And always with the eye towards innovation through simplicity. And how can we accomplish that? How do we take things that are inherently complicated and hard for people and obfuscate that complexity away from the end user, and instead make it something that, even though it's really hard on the back end, it's easy for them to do. And so that's kind of something that we are going to continue to try and strive for over the next 5 years. And as far as, any things that I would say to, nonprofits around the country is, what you do is difficult. But it is absolutely so worth it. And you are doing such good work around the country. I'm so inspired by the customers that we have and that we talk to, the prospects that we meet with, the work that they're doing. And so I would just leave people with, what you are doing is extremely important. And I just want to say thank you for all the hard work and the effort that nonprofits put into making as you said, building better tomorrows. I know that's your, kind of your tagline at One Cause, but it really is what these organizations are out there doing too. And so I would just say, keep it up, keep working hard, and let us know how we can support you in trying to do more of that. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, we're going to get a little more inspiration from you when we wrap this up.
Okay.
But to you and Andrew and your DonorDock family and Bridget and all of her work on both the mission side and the DonorDock side, and your family and the sweat equity that you put into DonorDock. Thank you. It's really a wonderful platform. You're definitely going places, and we're so glad here at One Cause that we're traveling along with you. So thanks for just enlightening us. I can talk forever about all of your fun features, but you'll just have to come back and join us again. Or to all of you listening out there, we're super excited that DonorDock will be joining us at the Raise conference in Nashville. Yes, you'll have to check out their booth there. And then you can learn more about the features and the fun things. Hopefully you can demo. I really need to get a demo. Do you know anybody, Matt, that I can call and get a demo?
I've got some.
Could you make that happen? Yeah, it's super cool. And as a small nonprofit myself, I really do appreciate everything you're doing. So thank you. Well, Fearless Fundraisers, that's about all we have time for today. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's Raise Nation topic and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. Tune in for a new episode released every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. That's Thursdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But in the meantime, listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio, and you can follow the channel that you like best. We stream on 10 different podcast channels, and we're on demand at onecause.com. And this way you can get notifications about all of our new guests. And if you're a nonprofit and you'd like to be featured on Raise Nation Radio, just reach out to me. We'd love to have you. You're all doing amazing things to build better tomorrows for our communities. Your stories are awe-inspiring, and we want you on Raise Nation Radio. I would like to thank our sponsor, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use software solutions that help nonprofits connect with their donors. Check it out at onecause.com, and be sure to visit the resource tab. It's a free resource tab on the homepage, broad catalogs of webinars and ebooks and vlogs and blogs and all that good content that you'll find helpful. A huge shout out and thanks again to my guest. We're going to do it again, Matt Bitzegaio. I am going to pat myself on the back every time I say that right. I so appreciate you being here today and sharing your very authentic voice and humbling story and all of the sweat equity that you put into DonorDock. Thank you so much for being with us today. I super enjoyed our conversation. I can listen to your story all day, but I do have to ask you, any last words of inspiration for our audience?
I would say, don't despair. There are lots of good technology solutions out there that can make your life easier. So there's tools out there, and go out and find those tools. Look at One Cause, look at DonorDock. We'd love to help you because, again, you're doing such great work, and it's really important things that are happening around the country. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, Raise Nation Radio, that is a wrap. Until next time, I'm Dawn Lego. This is Raise Nation Radio. You stay fearless out there.